Dear story lovers, welcome to another wonderful episode of Gina Tales. Today, we journey into the timeless tale of the tortoise and the bird's feast. Find a cozy spot, sit back as the magic of the story unfolds. Long ago, in a time when animals still walked and talked like humans, the tortoise was known across the land for his cunning ways. Though small and slow, Tortoise was clever, perhaps too clever for his own good. His schemes often got him into trouble, but Tortoise had never learned to be content with what he had. One sunny morning, Tortoise was wandering through the forest when he overheard a group of birds perching on a low branch above him, talking excitedly. The birds sang joyfully about a great feast they were planning to attend in the sky. The feast was being held by the king of the birds, and it would be filled with all the finest foods, juicy fruits, sweet nectars, and the freshest grains. Tortoise's mouth watered. He could already taste the delicious food, but then he frowned. How could he, a tortoise, ever reach the sky? Birds had wings to fly, but Tortoise was earthbound. However, as always, Tortoise's mind quickly began to scheme. With a sly grin, he approached the birds. "Good morning, my feathered friends," he said smoothly. "I couldn't help but overheard your exciting plans for the feast in the sky. What a wonderful location. Might I join you?" The birds looked at each other in surprise. "Tortoise," one bird replied, "how can you join us at the feast in the sky? You cannot fly." "Aha! But that's where you're wrong," Tortoise said, smiling. "If you could each lend me a single feather, I could fashion wings for myself. Then I will be able to soar with you to the sky. Wouldn't it be grand to have me, your old friend, at the feast?" The birds were hesitant, but Tortoise was known for his silver tongue. After much convincing, they reluctantly agreed to lend him feathers. One by one, they plucked a feather from their wings and handed it to Tortoise. Soon, Tortoise had gathered enough feathers to weave together a pair of makeshift wings. With these new wings attached, Tortoise flapped them vigorously, and to the bird's amazement, he began to rise into the air. "Look at me!" Tortoise cried, delighted. "I am flying!" The birds, though weary, couldn't help but cheer. As they made their way to the sky, Tortoise began to think of how he could make the feast beneficial to himself. He had already tricked the birds into giving him wings. Why not take it a step further? Before they reached the sky palace, Tortoise turned to the birds and said, "Before we go in, we should all choose new names. It's customary at feasts like this to be addressed with special names. I shall call myself all of you, and you can choose whatever names you like." The birds, trusting Tortoise's advice, picked new names for themselves, unaware of his devious plan. When they finally arrived at the feast, the table were laden with all sorts of delicious foods, and the birds were eager to dig in. But just as they were about to begin, the king of the birds raised his wing and called out, "Whose name should we call to serve the first portion?" Tortoise quickly stood up and with a grand gesture said, "The food should go to all of you." The king nodded and ordered that the first portion be served to Tortoise. The birds were confused, but said nothing, as Tortoise ate to his satisfaction, savoring every bite. Each time the king asked, "Who shall receive the next portion?" Tortoise would gleefully call out, "All of you," and once again the food would be placed before him. By the time Tortoise was full, the bird had barely eaten a thing. Realizing they had been tricked, the birds were furious. "Tortoise," they squawked angrily, "you have deceived us. You took all the food for yourself and left us with nothing. You'll pay for this." Seeing that the birds were on the verge of attacking him, Tortoise knew he had to escape quickly. "Wait, my friend," he said, backing away slowly. "I didn't mean any harm." But the birds weren't listening. One by one, they plucked their feathers packed from Tortoise's wings. Without the feathers to support him, Tortoise fell from the sky, plummeting towards the earth below. As he tumbled, Tortoise thought quickly. He knew if he hit the ground at full speed, he would surely die. So he called out to the spirit of the forest for help, pleading for his life to be spared. The spirit heard his cries, and just as Tortoise was about to crash into the ground, they transferred the earth into a soft bed of leaves and grass. Tortoise landed with a thud, but his shell cracked from the fall. Tortoise survived, but his once smooth shell was forever scarred with cracks. From that day forward, tortoises have had cracked shells as a reminder of tortoise greed and cunning ways. For the birds, they return to the sky, vowing never to trust tortoise again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and comment.